Mansfield today, nice to have you with us once again. We are having to try and dress up just to keep a little bit warmer as it goes on. We were given permission by our executive producer, Samantha Cowan, who eventually buckled under pressure from all the boys when we said, Sam, we're getting cold. Every lady coming in here is wearing long sleeve things and all the rest of it. We're the ones who are getting cold. So she eventually buckled and said, okay, fine, we'll let you boys off. Advocate Lars Brogden.
Morning, Jim.
How's it? Here we go. The legal bits and pieces. This is a result of we've got quite a few emails in, Lance. This is a sign of the times. People starting to ask about the small claims court.
Yep.
Okay, firstly, just to define it, what is the Small Claims Court?
Well, the Small Claims Court is a South African court. It's not a sideshow, it's a real court. And it's there where it's put in place for people for nominal numbers. When you're not going for really big numbers or big claims, and for specific things. We'll probably touch on just now what doesn't fall in the Small Claims Court. So that's what it's about. It's quicker action. It's put in place. And it's not in South Africa. Your Small Claims Court around the world. It's not unique to us.
Okay.
It's just a quick, accelerated process on lower numbers.
Why do we need a Small Claims Court? I mean, why don't we just do this through the Magistrates Court?
Well, okay, firstly, interestingly enough, you'll find most small claims court are inside the Magistrates Court, so it's inside the same building. The reason with Magistrates Court is you do have representation. You have lawyers, you have advocates who can appear there in certain circumstances. Small Claims Court don't have that. So we take a lot of the costs out, but we have a procedure and a protocol for quicker action, cheaper action, and to get it done and to get issues solved between people, between plaintiffs and defendants. That's what we have to do. So that's why we have a Small Claims Court. It saves money and there's fewer legal people involved.
Okay, I get that. I understand that. What is the quantum?
Well, nothing over 20,000 Rand. So up to 20,000 Rand, that goes through the system and then you can put the application in.
Here's another question. Sorry, Lance.
Of course, Jim. Yeah.
Age.
Just be yourself, bud. It's fine.
Don't say that. The amount from Burger, if the amount you are claiming exceeds the limit in the SCC, what do you propose that one should do?
Oh, no, absolutely, Jim. That's a very good question. So let's say, for example, your claim would be for 24,000 Rand. You are welcome to bring the number down to the 20,000, or inside the 20,000, and go ahead with a Small Claims Court action based on that. Remembering, however, at the end of the day, is that wherever the matter ends up, you can't go back later, and say, right, I want another claim for the rest. Once you've done away with that extra quantum to bring it down inside the range, that's it, job done, that's the number you're going ahead with.
Okay. Just as a matter of interest, who is the presiding officer in a Small Claims Court? How do I address this? Because I take it I'm defending myself.
Or you're the plaintiff.
Or I'm the plaintiff.
Right.
So I don't want to call him my lord, and he starts blitzing me.
Okay, so he's a commissioner. If it's a man, you can say, how's my China? What's happening? And if it's a bird, you can say, hey, cheery, what are we up to? And then you're going to have your ass given to you on a plate. No. Sorry, don't do that, guys. You get big crap for that. No, what you do is you could call the person a commissioner, man or woman, or you can just say, sir, ma'am. They are fairly informal, and they've done this a lot. So they don't have any expectations of you standing up and bowing as you do in court, my lord, or saying, your honour. It's not required. It's a commissioner, and you can say, ma'am, sir. They're very accommodating.
Does this commissioner or the court deal with all sorts of claims?
No, this is interesting. So they are highly focused. For example, it doesn't deal with criminal matters. We don't deal with matters relating to, you can't take on a municipality, or a government department. It doesn't relate to things regarding marriage, family matters, interdicts or injunctions. None of that. It's basically a claim based either on a contractual agreement or often an employment agreement. It's very, very basic. There are many things it doesn't cover, but it's easy to say what it does cover. And it's just basically those claims. And of course, nothing over 20,000 Rand.
Okay, so now I want to either defend or I want to initiate a procedure in the small claims court. How do I go about doing it?
Right, so the way it would work is the plaintiff, the person who's putting in the action for the, let's say, 15,000 Rand. You'd go to the clerk of the court. You'd sit down there and the clerk will help you prepare a letter. This letter is a letter of demand to the other party. So the letter is prepared, the clerk is very accommodating, and as it's in most magistrates' courts, you'll find a small claims court officer or a clerk. That letter is then sent to the defendant in the matter. Now, it's important the defendant's got 14 days. Always think of working days, operational days. And if the person has two options, the defendant, to either come back and say, see you when I see you, or to do nothing. If the defendant doesn't come back with anything, you then go back to the clerk, and the clerk helps you prepare a summons. Summons as would in a normal court matter. The summons will then be served on the other party, and the other party, and at the same time with the summons, the clerk will tell you, this is the date set down for this matter. It's 2 months from now on this date. The other person is also informed. Now, the other person then has a choice to come back and say, right, I want to put up a counterclaim, or I want to rebut this. This is nonsense, okay? The facts aren't right, and they have a full right to prepare the documents, put them together, send it back. Okay, that doesn't make the matter go away. The matter will still be heard, but it will go onto that file for court. The sheriff will either serve this document, the summons will be served by the sheriff on this person, and that person will have to appear in court on the date, but they do have a chance to get their documents, their paperwork together, and send that back to the court.
Okay, so we go to court. Everything's sorted out in the case of Mansfield versus Brogden. And why would you go to the small claims court? You're an advocate.
Because in this case, I would just be an individual. Let's say, for example, we had an agreement where you would do something for me. I would have a show like this, and you would be my guest, and I'm going to give you 10,000 Rand for a year of work, which is a lot for you. But anyway, let's say I had to do that. But then I'm not an advocate. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a person in the street, and you're going to say, hang on, I'm not going to go to the process of the Magis court, or I'm just going to go into a small claims court. And that's why we do it like that. We don't have to, for that purpose, I'll just defend myself. But very importantly, we are then on our own there. In the court matter, when the matter happens, it's Jeremy and Lance and the commissioner, our China.
There's no witnesses. So.
Yes, there are. So you have a right, you advise up front to bring your witnesses. And very important when you arrive there, Jim, make sure that you have your witnesses, you have them ready, you have a chance to present your case, both parties, whether it be the plaintiff or the defendant. But make sure you have all your paper with you, supporting originals, supporting documents, all your paperwork, your witnesses are prepared, and you're organized. And the commissioner gives both parties a chance to go through it, and then eventually the commissioner makes a decision, and that decision is the final decision.
Okay. Now, when you say final, Brogden loses to Mansfield.
Yeah.
Can Brogden stand up and go, yo, Cherry, or
China.
China, appeal, appeal.
Yeah,
No,
not yet.
Don't even go there.
Okay, he's near appeal.
No.
So what happens in that matter is you can't. Okay, the decision. However, should I, as the defendant or the plaintiff having lost, feel that the commissioner was biased, totally unfair, or missed a valid point in all, you can have it reviewed. A review is not an appeal. You're not going to the court. It can be reviewed. It's done properly, and then in the review will come back at. I'm pretty sure usually it's going to go the way the commissioner did it. These guys know what they're doing. But you do have a right to review it, not appeal it.
Finally, let's wrap it up. What are the main advantages of the small claims court?
Okay, I think the first one is no representation. You don't have to pay attorneys and counsel and so on. 2, it's fairly quick. 3, you get a lot of support from the clerk of the small claims court in first your first demand letter, which clarifies exactly what it's about, and then also you get support with the summons, etc. 3, it's quite quick, relatively. Some matters can be put out for months and months and months. This can happen a lot quicker, get it behind you, and the job is done.
Thank you, Lance.
Thanks, Jim.
Sorted.
Yep. Guys, good luck. Think about it. If the claim's small, think about the small claims court. The courts are full and busy, and we have a lot of things going on. It is a way of sorting the matter out. Whether you come out on top or the other side, the matter is then solved and put behind you, and we get on with our lives.
By getting on with our lives, you probably mean let's go for a beer. Fine.
A beer. I don't. It's like that old thing about let's go for a drink. I mean, come on.
Until next time, thank you guys. Take care. Keep warm. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you.